Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday and welcome to A Better Way of Life. I hope you're all good. I hope you're, whatever it is that you're doing, I hope you're having a great day. Marianne, you've got a piano.
I have. It's not mine.
Oh, you've stolen it.
I'd quite like my. Because I like my house to look like that. I don't really like that wall, but I
No.
quite like. I was talking to someone. Was it somebody on the podcast the other week about how when there's not much visual noise, it's really helpful. So I quite like it whenever I go away and I stay in a hotel
Right.
because I feel quite well. Aside from like obviously being away, there's less visual noise.
Well, it depends on the hotel, mind, doesn't it? Some hotels are quite noisy now, like visually. So some of them are deliberately like.
Oh, well, no, I'm okay with that. It's like when there's not stuff.
Yeah.
Like but also I shared. I don't know if you saw the post with the sheets that were made into a body.
Yeah.
And it did.
Couldn't avoid that, could we?
It was quite good because people shared various things, but it did remind me. What I didn't put one on there was there was the incident with the it was years and years and years and years ago. Somebody I was going out with, we were going to this wedding, so we checked in. We didn't pay until you left, which so we checked in. Honestly, it makes me feel sick. Like that's why I quite like hotels when there isn't lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Just keep it clean and clear, like nice. So I know that my eldest, when we look for a hotel, we kind of have to work with him on it because he likes white bedding and not lots of stuff because it just feels nice. So anyway, they took us upstairs to the room. All my life, we went in and we were like, oh, okay, cool. The guy went and I went, this is horrendous. This is like really awful. But the wedding was soon, so we couldn't really do much about it. But the bedding was black and there was white marks on it. There was something in the sink. And then, I kid you not, I was like, what the heck is that? There was a shower cube.
Love it. Love it.
Actually carved out into the wall.
Oh, now listen, for anyone that hasn't seen this post, I thought we'd share it. Here it is. Hotel horrors and hilarious highlights. Let's just have a look, because this is
You've got my messages.
Oh well, yeah. Oh well, let's hide those quickly. Yeah. Let's just have a look at some of the comments on this. I'd stick around and ask for a clean room, but if I saw that on the bed, I would probably scream and run out as fast as I could. Love that from Louise. Love that. Mine was abroad. We booked a room with sitting room. One morning I heard a knocking at the door. My daughter had a separate room, so I opened the bedroom with the intention of shouting to her, be with you in a mo. However, as I naked walked into the sitting area, it transpired the knocking was someone who had been given the wrong room key actually walking into the sitting area. We shouldn't laugh, Julie. I think I traumatized the poor woman and her young grandson for life. It's interesting, actually. Yeah, go on.
From is it Conor O'Brien? I tagged him on it because I know that he's got family hotels. So whilst he does education events, the other part of what he does is that. And he had shared on another post about how he'd was there noise or something, and he'd had to go in, and it was an older couple that were having fun, which older couples are allowed to have fun. Very much so.
Yeah. It's interesting. That actually, what that woman said, that actually happened to my wife recently because she went away for work and she got put in this hotel room and she got woken up because someone else tried to come in the room. They'd been given a key to get in the room, and it had been like a double booking situation.
I'm surprised this kind of thing happened. Like with
It's terrifying. It must be terrifying.
well, yeah.
You know, I mean, in the
I'm laughing, but it's not actually funny.
Yeah, in the incidents, both those incidents, it was somebody of the same sex, which I think you could argue probably makes it slightly less terrifying. But you know, you imagine it was somebody of the opposite sex or whatever as well, that depending upon your orientation and whatever, I guess, as well. But frightening, yeah, no, incredibly frightening.
I just think I kind of wanted as well. So if anybody wants to jump on that one, if there are people that work in hotels and things that they've seen, because I love what I do when I do the training, because I love certain sectors. I'm able to ask questions. So the guy that
get the stories from behind the scenes.
Yeah, so George works down in sewers and stuff, so I hear all of the stuff. I'm on a group, Sewer Men and Proud, and they share stuff that they see and hear.
Sewer Men and Proud.
Yeah, it's called that. There's one, when I've taught security people, and I have to just ask the question about what's the craziest thing you found, and what's this and what that, because you just have to, and we all like this stuff. Maybe I should write a book, and I should get loads of information on different sectors about funny things that have happened to people.
I want to know now, if you work in the sewage sector, is there a group somewhere called Get Your Mind Out the Sewer? I just want to know now. Can people join it? I bet there is.
Well, honestly, some of the things that I see in that group, and I'll tell you what, though, the other side of it was, though, that I think it was George, I can't remember, was sort of saying about, they called it that, but there's a whole thing behind these men, because it's predominantly men, who don't really see themselves as much. They don't get paid a huge amount, but actually when you see what they do, it's pretty horrendous and actually very dangerous. When you see these wagons at the side of the road, they can either be pumping water out or or whatever they need to do. And they were telling me about an instance where somebody hadn't done what they'd done and had got killed, and that only has to take a pinprick hole in one of those pipes, but because the force that comes out, and this is why people need to be, I have to bring it back round to training, don't I? Why people have to be trained properly, because they also have to know the consequences of not doing it right.
Yeah.
And they're massive, so people die.
No, absolutely. Well, we'll get onto that again. We'll undoubtedly get onto that again.
I always do. I am fun.
But the thing is, it's true. The consequences of not training properly. The thing is, it's a little bit like when I used to do stuff in the sort of ergonomic sector and whatever else as well. Right, people would go, yeah, but they're only working in an office, right? And therefore it doesn't really, what harm can someone come to working at a computer, right? This is the thing, right? What we do is we segregate in our mind sort of dangerous jobs where we know that we've got to do training and we've got to do it right, and then we segregate off sort of like office work and whatever, where we think it doesn't really matter if people don't get trained properly in that and whatever. But it's absolute nonsense. And I wrote a piece, really good example of this. I wrote a piece once that got published, and it was, I'm going to try and struggle to remember the title now. It was like something like 30. That's right. It was 30 seconds or 30 years, but the outcome is the same. Right. And basically it took two case examples where somebody sustained exactly the same injuries. Right.
Okay.
And one happened in 30 seconds because they had a terrible car crash and had all of these things happen to their body, which left them with this injury, that injury, and whatever. But the other person literally just worked in an office for 30 years, but ended up with the same injuries. right?
Mm.
But the point is, you'd look at the one and go, oh, if they're driving, they have to learn how to drive. They have to pass a driving test. They have to do this. This person, they're just sat at a computer. Nothing bad is going to happen to them. But the point is, yeah, it can happen. It might happen over a longer period of time or whatever, but without the proper advice and without doing things correctly and without the proper training and all of that, they can end up in exactly the same place as that other person, right? That's the problem. We don't.
I think even I was having a conversation with my neighbour Ernie, good old Ernie. His cleaner was there, and we were sat
Hi,
down.
Ernie.
We were having a cup of tea together, and she's amazing, Debbie. She's one of those people that will never realise how great she is. She works at the school, she works in the kitchen, she does cleaning. I've said to her, she got any space over the summer, because I literally do need some help. You know, that sort of, not deep cleaning, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All the stuff that doesn't get done, that when people say that they've cleared a room and you're like, but did you do that? Oh no, but that is part of it. Anyway, she works in the kitchen, and we were talking about how people often get annoyed that teachers have inset days, or they just assume they sit around doing nothing. And I say, but how do people think that teachers get their update training or safeguarding training, or even having a meeting all together? Because you can't, because you're teaching when you're teaching. And then then we got talking about e-learning and stuff, and she was saying, she went through, I was saying about how it's awful that e-learning happens, because particularly when you're dealing with people that may struggle with reading, you know, they struggle with reading anyway, and then you put it onto a computer, and that's going to be harder. They might not have a computer either, so then they do it on a phone. Even if you've got a good phone, that's not ideal doing it on a phone. And she then said that she said, I go through a process of doing this, and then I download all the PDFs, then I sit there and I do this. And I said, have you seen how much effort you've just had to put into crafting a way for her to be able to do that learning, when actually she could just have somebody teaching her? She literally was having to, she said, I have to get all the documents out. And that, so you know, like I say that I use a diary, an actual paper diary, because if it's in a computer, it doesn't exist to me. It's there because I have to have it. I spoke to somebody yesterday that said that they were doing some work with somebody, and they were trying to work out timings or something like that. It was like a project, and I felt like that person wasn't getting it. So they said what they did was got a piece of paper and went beginning, end, and then actually literally wrote. Because for some people, they work better like that if they can visually see it all.
Totally.
And I think a lot of the time consideration isn't given to that. But the bit, that's what I was getting onto, was that she said sometimes you sit there and think, oh, this isn't applicable to us, but actually it is, because she said it is, because if part of that cog, let's just say when you're dealing with vulnerable people or children who are vulnerable, arguably, if that person doesn't know what their role is in reporting a case of when a child comes to them, they need to know how to do that. And that's why quite often cleaners and people like that work in children's home, they are very, very important, because kids will often tell them stuff. And I think it often gets forgotten that somebody that their primary role might not be that, but they need to know. That's why I ask the question quite often, how many people that work with apprentices have actually had any safeguarding training? Not many.
No, that is scary. Absolutely.
Not many. And safeguarding we're not just talking about somebody disclosing some abuse. It literally can be anything. It could be that person, that the person that's working with that apprentice might notice something that's going on. It could be anything that's going on, and what their responsibilities are for that. I don't think many people get training in it at all.
I don't think
one of those grey areas.
Oh, the odd grey area.
Yeah. Good old grey areas.
Yeah, absolutely, the grey area. I was kind of challenging people with their grey areas today on LinkedIn. I don't know whether you saw that. Let's just go to that for a minute. And then I've just seen a really great post as well. Actually, let's see if I can save this. Actually, let's go to this really great post that I've just found as well, because that's a great talking point, and then we'll go to the other one. As you might notice, folks, I'm just sharing some stuff from LinkedIn today. It's great fun, isn't it?
I think we should share Jackie Turner's camera one as well in a bit.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, yeah. I'll see if I can. I'll share this one. I just found this one. Anger at miracle recovery of fans in disabled area at Oasis gig, which has been covered by Helen Cook. Well done, Helen. Really interesting post. I'll let you just check it out for yourselves. But what an incredible story. I mean, yeah. Look, it says a disabled Oasis fan has described the biblical moment when seemingly wheelchair-bound concert goers stood up and danced amid fears.
So used having a wheelchair to get
potentially, yeah.
That's rubbish, isn't it? Well, it's very rubbish, actually.
Yeah, very rubbish. I mean, that's the suspicion that the ticket's been sold to able-bodied customers. I remember a post similar to that being shared a few years back, where it showed somebody that was receiving disability benefit, and they were hopping over the central reservation of the motorway to get back in their sports car to drive. Yeah, I know, exactly. Right. And yet when like people visited the house, they were like with a stick, and I was just, you know,
that reminds me of, well, when, and I'm sure your kids are like it, with my 12-year-old will spend probably an hour trying to get something that would take 5 minutes. You're like, just
do it, thing. Suck it up.
Like, just do the thing. I mean, I don't know whether you should, like, you know, when you see even people like commit fraud and stuff, and I think, God, I wouldn't even know, I wouldn't got the memory or anything to be able to do that stuff. But you just think, God, can't people just go and get a job?
Yeah.
Just go and get a job. Surely it takes a lot, you know, to try and skive out of.
I know. We'll probably get some backlash for saying that, because, you know, some people will say it's not that easy to just go and get a job, but actually, do you know what?
But these people that are being fraudulent, many of them. I'm trying to think who I spoke to the other day that was saying about this, that actually who was it? It may have even been you. I had the conversation. I can't remember. No, it wasn't. It was Debbie again. We quite often just sit and have a cup of tea. So she comes to clean for him, but he always makes sure she sits and has a cup of tea. And she was saying about her husband, and he'd been signed off, and she said he wasn't doing anything. He literally wasn't doing anything. He wasn't doing anything. He was indefinitely signed off. And she said, and it wasn't good. She said, because what purpose do you have? None. Like, literally none. And it kind of then sends somebody down that mental health spiral.
Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
I do love looking at the I think, you know, you see a lot of these gurus out there that will then say you should only spend 10 minutes. I think, well, actually, that's a load of rubbish, because I learn a lot. I think it depends on how you use LinkedIn, and you and I use it for many, many different reasons.
Yep.
For me, it's been great. You know, I've met lots of people. If you have the conversations in there, you can learn a lot from people. I love it now that I get people that repeatedly come back to my posts. I get to know them, because actually, the same with you. I'm not going to network. Maybe when I get into certain sectors more, but it's very difficult when people say just network. Yeah, just network. What does that even mean? Particularly when you've got kids.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Just network.
Well,
so to me, network.
This
network on our posts.
Well, exactly. This is the daft thing, actually. I mean, if you look at it in terms of you know, effectiveness of time. I mean, for you to actually go and network somewhere, you've got the drive somewhere. You've got to get out, you've got to park, you've got to go to this thing. You might be there for an hour, but it's probably taken you an hour to get there, and it's an hour back. It's half a day by the time you've done all of that to go to a network meeting. Just think how many conversations you could have had with someone online in that time.
I don't know if it's, I have to sometimes sort of work out, is it the way my brain works? Is it the way that everyone does? But in my head, I then think, like, Fridays, that's my day where I try and do my Pilates. I'm not strict about lots of stuff, but it is the time that I say, no, that's yours, Marianne. So quite a lot of the time, say there's a networking event on, I have to weigh up, am I going to trade that for something that I might walk away from and go?
Well, the way I look at it as well is that, if you can't constantly going to network things, but you've never met any of those people before, you're starting from scratch.
Oh, it's just awful
every time, right? It's a bit like when you first go to university, and for the first 2 weeks, everybody asks you the same question, which is, what are you studying? What A levels did you do? Where have you come from, or whatever? And you end up just wanting to write it on a bit of paper and just shoving it in front of them. Go there. Those are all the answers. Those are all the answers to all the questions you're about to ask me. Now ask me something else. Whereas I actually feel like it feels so much better if like once a year you went to something where the majority of the people there you'd already had several conversations on LinkedIn with those people. That's completely different, because then it's almost like putting into the flesh people.
Well, it's putting that name to that face, isn't it? I find it difficult.
Yeah.
If I go to things and I don't know if I'm a introvert, extrovert, ambivert, or anything, but I don't know, which is green, by the way, Graham, given the
we
that French. So for me, I struggle with them. Even the one we did in Manchester with the Care Connector network, I was acutely aware of the fact that I was stood talking to one person. Then I think, oh my gosh, are they thinking I'm monopolizing them? But actually, I think that person felt quite comfortable. So they don't really work for me, networking events, because I don't really want, I struggle to then have a very short conversation and move on on, because I'll be having meaningful conversations. So it either is not going to happen and I move on, or I'm engrossed in it, which is like where you say that when you're doing it on LinkedIn or something like that, in a message, is you can, and then you might say, oh, should we have a cup of tea? So I did it with Jackie the other week. You'd spoken
that
to
works.
Her, and we chatted.
Yeah, that works.
So to me, I just think it's a different idea of networking. And to be quite honest, I think a lot of it is that I don't really want to sign up to something that I'm probably not going to use, that's going to be another 50 quid that I don't have, and it's not going to be a benefit to me. So if it's going to be a benefit, then even 100 quid would be great. I know people talk about BNI. That's great for people that works for. For me, I went and sat there and was like, this isn't for me.
Horses for courses, isn't it? Right, let's have a look at this one, and then you can remind me of the other one that you want me to try and look at. So I love when you start getting responses to things like this. Some handy things you can say in response to literally any LinkedIn post or comment. I thought I'd put those out there this morning. I just said, for those who prefer not to think too hard, you know what I'm doing. I'm taking the rip out of people that produce these kind of, made for you thinking lines that they then sell to people. But here's some of the ones that things you can say in response to literally any post or comment on LinkedIn. You can try this throughout the day if you like, folks. As the prophecy foretold, but at what cost? That's how many times do you see people putting that? But at what cost? So it has come to this. Empowering, inspiring. A lot of people like that one. Empowering, inspiring. What does it mean? Just absolutely rubbish. And then people loved the last one, and then the wolves came. Well, I want people throughout the day just to go and try that on various posts.
What I tend to see, when you try and work out, well, like I said the other day, I'm that probably dreaded person to some of these people, because I literally will keep asking questions. But when we start looking at all of the other, I think somebody on my post said something like was it something bingo? It was a bit of a joke they have with it, comment bingo or something. If you start looking through the comments, they all seem a bit vacuous and and they're all going, "You're amazing, you're this, you're that, you're the other." And you're thinking, have you done work with all these people? Because like, you might be lovely, but how do you know? And you think, yeah, because you're all in something together. And it, to me, doesn't feel very authentic. It just doesn't feel very authentic, because it just seems a bit over the top. Like, and then there's no meat on the bone. So I'm going to use somebody that I do know what they do. And obviously it could be you, but let's just say Paula Cashmore. I know she's really, really good at what she does. So she might post something. And I think you could tell if I was to respond, it just feels more authentic, because it is. And I'm just pretty sure that when I see the same people rock up on someone's post, whatever they post about, saying they're amazing, unless it's just that I'm not amazing and people don't want to tell me that I'm amazing, I don't know.
No, you know what? But you know what LinkedIn should do for a day, just to really mess it up with people. They won't do this, but it'd be great fun. Is where you get those auto comment responses at the bottom of posts, where it puts them in for you.
Yes.
Amazing, inspiring. What it should do is they should do it for a day where it's like Russian roulette.
Pick one.
Right. where because this is how these people do it, is they go through LinkedIn and they just literally find the people that they want to suck up to, and they think, I need to suck up to them today, and then they just press one of the buttons that goes amazing or whatever. But imagine if when they press the button it was like Russian roulette, and it might say amazing, or it might go, "You're an idiot." I think all of your posts are rubbish.
Do people just do that? I mean, I've never even when I've been in a hurry, I will literally be like, I'm just commenting here because I'm going to come back to it. Because
I can tell that certain people do that. If you look at certain people's comments across all posts, they are literally just scroll. I've actually watched people do it. They're literally scrolling. They find somebody that they feel like, oh yeah, I really should comment on their post because they're popular or whatever, and then they press the button, and then they scroll on to the next one. They haven't read that post. The post could be saying absolute nonsense, right? But they've shown they're there. They've shown that they're there. You're doing that. If you're doing that out there, stop it.
Yeah, but it just isn't it this though. It really, when you think about that kind of behaviour, I was saying to you about how decisions that are made on bring back around to training, how much is spent on things.
Yeah.
And you and I have both I've had to come to the conclusion that companies don't want to spend a lot of money on teaching people how to deliver training well, because they can offer them another cheap version. But it got me sort of thinking that who are the decision makers and how do they make them? And I do get concerned that the people that make decisions about budgets are people that quite like shiny things. They quite like being sucked up to. Do you know what I mean? And so they'll actually buy.
But we've seen it though. We've seen it from having conversations, right? There are too many people. I think this is the crux of the matter, though. There are too many people who are in charge of training that haven't been trained. Right?
Yeah, so they miss the whole of that's why I said to you, I'm doing an L&D qualification, because I need to be able to get hold of it all, because training isn't just training. People think it's just training. I can count on my hand how many times I would go in and do care training that a manager or anybody would say to me, is there any feedback? Is there anything that came from the sessions? Like I said to you before, I knew that once I delivered some training and I went to the manager and said, I'm a bit concerned because this person was quite discriminatory to me. It turned out they'd had concerns about this person and they asked me to do a report. So anybody out there that wants intelligence on your workforce, go and speak to the people that do the training, because they're not just doing training, they're actually very valuable to you, because they hear stuff, they see stuff, they note stuff, they see what's going on with staff teams way more than a manager ever will, which is why I used to do supervision with teams, because I was training for them, but they trusted me. They knew why I was going in there, but managers will never get the same kind of information. If you get somebody external come in, this particular company used me instead of a psychologist, because they knew that I'd worked in that sector. I trained these people, because the psychologist was not going to approach it in the same way. But we sorted out a lot of stuff in there, and a lot of it was going to help with retention. So again, it's seen as a cost.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at someone said, you all love this. Someone said to me the other day about looking at benefits and features. I thought this was really interesting, that features and benefits are very different. So a feature of a product you're selling could be for me, one of the features of what I do is that I will offer anybody can pick up the phone and ask me for help afterwards if they want to. Another feature is that they can do it on an e-learning platform. Then you look at what the benefits are. Some of those might be a benefit too. Do you see what I mean? And so when you're actually approaching somebody, it would be about, some of it will be about solving problems, but it's looking at what the feature is, because the feature might not be important to that particular company, but it might also be, if you've looked at what that sector is and saying, look, one of these features is that I've worked with a company recently and they've said, look, they're qualified, could we use some of your resources, and we use them to deliver it? Because of the shift patterns of these people, we're literally not going to be able to. So from a sales point of view, that was great, because I was able to give them what they needed, because I'd listened to what they needed. So one of the features of it was that I was able to make it work for them, really. But I just think a lot of people, that there's a lot of money spent on stuff. So even things like, if you see how much is spent on hospitality type stuff or entertainment, or almost like a blank check, because you're schmoozing people. And I get that. I get that in sales, particularly in corporate environment, you've got to do that. But still, when I hear about people, when I look at, with my husband, when he says, but I haven't got the right tools to do the job. He's an engineer. He's a maintenance engineer. And he said, I have to bring my own in. And yet he'll then know that the management team have just gone on a team building day that cost crazy amounts.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No.
Same as if your staff don't know how to do their job properly, it's kind of irrelevant what sales you're going to get.
I've just been doing a little bit of research while you've been talking, right? This is the irony of the situation that's out there at the moment. So the UK training and L&D sector is currently worth 7 billion or over 7 billion, right? So at the moment, there's more demand for professional trainers than at any other time, right? However, at the same time, there's very little formal induction. There's no specific training or coaching or inclusive practice happening. And there's no frameworks in most organizations for learner feedback or adaptation. So
and there we go.
Really. So basically, what you're going to end up with is a huge amount of trainers. So effectively, what I can see from that is the market saying we need more and more people training, right? But you're going to have worse and worse training happening. So you're going to end up with overloaded sessions. You're going to end up with more and more learner disengagement. You're going to end up with a one-size-fits-all delivery, which won't work with all of the people out there with different disabilities or with learning difficulties or with different learning styles or with different types of brain from neurodiversity, etc. And there's going to be massive opportunities for skills development and retention. And it's all going to crash and burn at some point. All going to crash and burn because you're going to have loads of people that have apparently had training and they won't have actually had training.
Exactly. And because it's not actually training, it's just information dumping. Or as you thought, I didn't see it at the time, and I got tagged in and I saw the follow-up one, and I did speak to Jackie Turner, who does customer service training. I don't know what the initial post was. I know the follow-up post had a picture of the whole post was about asking about cameras being switched off when people are
that's being right. Yeah.
And this actually is bigger than it actually said, and you and I have discussed it, said a whole lot more than it. Well, it highlighted quite a lot of things. So the post was asking, I think, who switches their camera off, or if you're a trainer, do you allow people to? So I think there was a lot of people that said, God, no, I don't. They've got to keep their camera on, and that's that. Or there'll be other people that will say, no, I've got ADHD, or I've this, and I have my camera off. There'll be other people that are trainers that go, oh, I'm going to let them do whatever they want. Okay. So what came out of all of that was, and Jackie did a brilliant post, and anybody check it out, and you can learn more about it if you come on my training, is that there was a lot of people that are trainers out there that clearly don't know what the heck they're doing, but they're trainers. They know their stuff, so they are trainers. But it highlighted the fact that knowing your stuff isn't going to help you do that well and manage your learning environment. So the post she followed up with was a picture of a trainer, let's just say, with their face on there and 12 blank screens with their camera off.
Yep.
So it just showed you, it was a really, really good visual to show that actually when you are a trainer, it's not nice to have that. How can you? I struggle if someone has their camera off.
Yeah.
I will make them aware. I will try, but I struggle to process the fact there's somebody behind that camera if their camera's off. So they're going to have to keep making me aware they're there. So keeping quiet I am going to struggle to be inclusive in that. So what she did, she wrote a best practice thing. So it was about for trainers what to do. So it was things like speaking to learners beforehand or getting them to disclose if they've got a need to have the camera off. Because actually a lot of the time what's happening is people just think, I don't want it on. And if you do your speed awareness, you have to have it on.
Yep.
That is an agreement you have to. Because for a lot of people, they just see it as a chance to be fairly lazy. And as someone highlighted with me, it was Michael highlighted, that if a company is paying for training, they need to know if those people have got their cameras off. Because who knows?
Here's the great image that Jackie produced. Thanks for doing that, Jackie. I mean, yeah, it does absolutely. It's so hard. If you're this person here delivering to this, that is really, really difficult.
Well, right? Would you in a real world go into a meeting as well and just have a bag on your head and have a conversation with people? I don't mean a plastic bag because I know that's dangerous, or cardboard box on your head. You would find it really difficult, wouldn't you? Everybody would find it difficult.
And the thing is, though, she dealt with it in the right way. The trainers that went, no, they have to have that on.
Don't know what they're talking about.
That's not the right way either, because
they don't know about inclusivity.
You're not asking your learners why. You're not having a conversation with them and saying, look, what we would like to do here is make sure that you and I and everybody else in that environment manages to learn as effectively as possible. What I would generally ask for is for cameras to be on. If you've got any objection for that or any reasons why, just let us know. And what we'll do is try and accommodate you, right, the best possible, right? And we'll talk through it. And, it might be that we come to a thing where we say, actually, for the majority, you can keep it off. But for this particular bit where you need to actually integrate with other people, you may need to have it on. And it's just about conversation. But a lot of this comes down to people not
So they take on that role as a trainer. But and I do feel very passionate about this, that there's so many people that are making a lot of money of being trainers, but they're not actually doing all the stuff that comes with being a trainer. So I'll take, for example, the other day, so John that's been on here, he's my Pilates instructor. He is he's learned how to teach. Okay. So we were in this session the other day, and somebody came in a bit late, and it was probably virtually nearly 15 minutes late, actually. He didn't say anything. He just said, "Oh, come in," or whatever. Didn't make a big thing of it whatsoever. And then there was a lady next to me. One of the guys that comes said to me the other week, oh, there was a kettle next to me. And then I realised partway through, this lady breathes very, very loudly. And I am a very tolerant person, but people walking slowly and people breathing very loudly evidently do push me quite far, I now see. So anyway, we finished and we mentioned about the breather. And he said, yeah, it can be quite distracting. And then he said, oh, you know, the lady that walked in late, he said, I didn't make a big deal of it. He said, because if I had made a big deal of it, it makes a bigger deal of it than her just coming in later. He said, if she'd have come in, if it happens repeatedly, then he said, obviously I would say something. But he said, she came up and spoke to me at the end and apologized. Because actually, you don't know whether somebody's just been caught in traffic and you then want them to not go to the class and then think, oh, I'm not going to bother the next time. That was somebody dealing with that well. And I think what people forget is that when you do learn how to train people or teach, it's not just a tick box. And yes, you may be able to do lots of it very well, but it does teach you to, not have imposter syndrome, because actually you've got the tools in your box to be able to sort this out, or just have the confidence to say, I don't know how to do that. And I know that a lot of people say to me that are trainers that haven't learned how to, I'll say to them on the training, do you ever have that feeling where you just get to the end and go, oh, thank God that went right? And I said, if you're repeatedly having it, the reason you're having it is because you are dreading the time that it doesn't go okay, because actually you didn't really know how it was built. You were literally just winging it all the time. There's winging with confidence, but there's winging.
It's still
and
winging.
If you're literally just winging constantly, you are literally, you wrote, you know, the other week, or I think it was on one of the, I don't know what week it was, last week maybe, on the newsletter, talking about if you're constantly in survival mode, you can never really relax into it and enjoy it, because you're literally waiting for something to go wrong. I love it. I love being in front of a group and just going, right, bring this on, because I'm confident. I'm not arrogant, but I'm confident that whatever happens, be it that the heating doesn't work or a cat walks in, this has happened when I've been teaching in a cemetery, or a fire alarm goes off, or the power goes off, that happens, but it's what you do that matters.
No, absolutely. Well, we always put the world to rights on this show, especially when it comes to things like training and social media and things like that. I've got something down here.
Ooh.
Exactly.
It's not Trooper because it's too quiet.
It's not Trooper because it's far too quiet for that. I saw this morning and I just thought I'd get it. Right. I have no idea what to do with it, to be honest, but I just like the look of them. And so I just had to get it. And I'm hoping that I'm not going to kill it as well. But for any advice out there from anybody that actually knows what they're doing would be more than welcome. But look, I'll bring it up so that we can see. I just like the look of them.
Plants, I think.
Yeah, look at them.
What the heck? What is it? Is it like cacti?
Well, yeah, it's. I think you call
them cabbages in a bowl.
Succulents, isn't it? Is that what you call them? Yeah, like. Look at this one. It looks like it's got a Venus flytrap on the top, does
it stay like that, or do you take them out of?
No, you can take them out. I'm thinking I'm thinking of putting them in the rockery, but I'm not sure whether they'll survive that or not. Look at that one. Yeah,
It does look like a cabbage.
With mould on it. Yeah.
You just felt the need to get that, didn't you? Because
I just like the geometricness of them.
Do you know what's interesting about that?
That beautiful?
I bet I love it. And it almost doesn't look real. It might not be real. Do you know though that you've done a frivolous buy, right?
Yeah.
I years ago bought. I've got to just share this because actually Melanie, that's her surname now. Melanie, what's her surname?
Costa.
I've got somebody else. I've got another. Yeah, Costa. She shared something. This is really insane that this happened. So at the weekend, I went to the International Air Tattoo in Fairford. And what's really lovely, actually, is I've got a picture of me and my dad. It must have been the first year. And then I've got a picture of me 40 years on, stood in the same place with a picture. Obviously, my dad's not there because he's not alive. But anyway, went to the air tattoo and I'm laughing about it. It's not actually funny. I was quite depressed. I've got a pink cardigan and I've got 55 cardigans, of which I don't wear them very much, but they're there if I need them. But I've got a pink one that I love and I've had it, I think, about 18 years, right? But I bought it on a whim and I felt really bad. It was Dorothy Perkins. Other shops are available, but I did buy it from there and I loved it. And I always take it with me. It's great. When I go anywhere, I take a black cardigan and this pink one. Anyway, it wasn't very good weather to begin with. So I had my coat, took that off. Then it got hot. Tied it around my bag, fell off once, tied it around it again. It's gone. The cardigan's gone. I'm literally... but Melanie randomly on the same day shared that she'd lost her beloved jumper and was asking if anybody had got one. Even before we left Fairford, I was on Vinted searching and I think I found one. It's a size bigger. I'm not okay about this. I'm not okay. I'm not sentimental about stuff, but I once lost a red heart cushion that I'd had since I was 21. I think I had it about 20 odd years. And now I've done it with a cardigan and I'm really not okay.
No, I feel that's totally understandable, to be honest. I mean, I lost my favourite top recently. I don't know what I've done with it.
It's not okay, is it? It's
just gone. Yeah. I mean,
do you find yourself every so often remembering that you should have? So I get obsessed. Well, I couldn't in that instance, but I did. I went off looking.
Well, do you know what the thing is for me? What happened was as far as I'm aware, I left it in the house. We went off on holiday. When I got back, I couldn't find it anywhere in the house. Now, some of the children, older children, were staying in the house while I was away. I've asked them, but they've said, no, nobody's picked it up or whatever. I'm still convinced it might turn up at some point because maybe someone's just shoved it in a bag or something.
And you have to you have to shelve it you have to put it somewhere because I get upset. Like
I'm trying to shelve it by going, it's not actually gone. It's just misplaced.
It's just somewhere.
I
always miss, but I don't lose things. Yes.
And years from now, it will just turn up, and I'll go, "Oh my word! It's that top that I lost."
It's a horrible feeling losing things, though, isn't it? It's
horrible feeling.
But the reason why I said that about the cardigan was that I bought that on a whim. So your cactus things. What is the plural of cactus? Is it cacti?
Cacti.
Is it cacti? Your cacti that don't even look like cacti might actually be your prized thing. I think it's great when you buy something on a whim and you feel guilty, but then you find out that it was the thing that you just love.
Yeah, it's horrible losing things.
Are any of them hairy? Some of them look shiny. I'm talking about cactus, by the way.
Yes, some of them are.
Sorry.
Some of them, yeah, some of them are hairy.
Are they spiky as well? Somebody told me, somebody that didn't like me years ago told me, I thought this is great. We should get people to, I did this on LinkedIn the other day, give your greatest put downs to somebody. And somebody said to me once, I was more prickly than a cactus. I'm not. It's because I
Ooh.
don't really like her. I now realise it's because I don't like her. So I was prickly, but she said you're more prickly than a cactus.
I tell you what, let's do that as a bit of a final thing today. If you're watching and you've lost something that has sentimental value to you, that perhaps it's an item of clothing, or it was a favorite pen, or I don't know, something like that, that in the grand scheme of things, value wise probably isn't gonna, it's not like losing a car or a house or something like that, but and you lost
something to it,
and it's got something to it, and you've lost it. Do let us know your stories. When did you?
Mine was because I lose lots of things, and I managed to not lose something
for all that time. Yeah.
Years.
So do let us know your stories. What is it that you lost? When did you lose it?
Did you ever find it?
Did you ever find it? If not, can we all go hunting for it? Perhaps we should
I lost
create
a scan picture once. That upset me. My scan pictures.
Oh no. Well, perhaps
but
we could.
Do you know how I got over it though?
Yeah.
I said to myself, only I could do this. I think that the person who's done the losing can do this. I sat there and I said, once upon a time, they never even had scan pictures. So you've actually have got it on Facebook, and you've got a child to show. So I got over myself.
I think that's, as I say, that's kind of where I go. I compartmentalize it, is that it's not actually, it's somewhere.
I've done that with my dad's death, though. My dad, I'll see him again one day. I just don't know when.
I think that's a lovely way to do it, folks. Thanks for joining us again. I hope you've enjoyed our little imbibement. And any advice on the plants would be welcome as well. We won't be here next week because I'm not around. Who knows? I may never be back. I'm joking. But no, I won't be. We won't be here next week. So you can all have you can all have a break from us. But that means that you'll miss us all the more. And then when we do come back the following week, and we'll make sure we have a guest, that we'll be back. Sarah might be back as well.
If anybody would like to come on, tell their story and link it to training somehow, that's always extra points for that one. Or equality and diversity, or
that would be good. Just to say, Sarah couldn't come on this morning, and one of the reasons she couldn't come on today was because she is in pain and she's waiting for an emergency dentist appointment. And she said to me, which she walked right into this, she said, "Teeth suck." And I went, "No, that's lips." There we go. Some of you will have got that joke. We will be back soon. Have a good week, everybody, and do contact us with your advice, your tips, your missing things, and your plant suggestions from Marianne and me. Bye for now.